an era of exponential change and the fading of tradition. We live in a dynamic era where countless things are changing at an exponential rate over time, and the common sense of yesterday is quickly relegated to the relics of the past. In the process of technological advancement and the rapid transformation of people's lifestyles, there are many things scattered around us that once enjoyed absolute authority and glory but are now slowly fading away. No matter how much bone-crushing effort is made or how hard one struggles, it is an unavoidable reality that certain sectors cannot reverse the massive flow of the times and are eventually forced out into the back alleys of history. The inevitable decline of print magazines and newspapers. One of the representative fields that has taken a direct hit from such an unfortunate decline is traditional print magazines and offline newspaper companies. As modern society completely shifts its axis toward an era dominated by the rapid development of the internet and video-centric platforms like short-form content, print media that remain stuck in past glory are being thoroughly marginalized. The public no longer pays to purchase heavy physical magazines to turn the pages instead. They consume online content instantly, anytime and anywhere, through their smartphone screens. With the advent of an era where individuals directly plan blog posts and produce video content for distribution in a digital environment, the downfall of print media is felt much more distinctly. The rise of influencers over traditional publications. The influence of famous magazines, which wielded absolute power in the past, has now become inferior to the ripple effect of ordinary online influencers or independent creators. Rather than refined articles or pictorials dedicating dozens of pages in a renowned magazine, a single photo or a short line of text casually posted by an influential creator on their social media or personal blog opens the public's wallets much faster and more powerfully. Rather than a massive platform like a magazine, a unique personal brand steadfastly built by an individual exerts a far stronger influence. Even at various luxury fashion shows, inviting influencers with millions of followers to VIP seats rather than traditional fashion editors has become the most effective marketing tool for spreading trends worldwide at a much faster pace. The legacy of the original The Devil Wears Prada. In light of this reality, when the first movie The Devil Wears Prada was released to the world 20 years ago, the vitality of print magazines was still incredibly strong and brilliant. Among them, fashion magazines held the position of the ultimate alpha with absolute dominance in the ecosystem of the fashion industry. The real-life magazine Vogue, which served as the motif for the fictional magazine Runway in the movie, was a proper noun and a symbol of power widely known even to ordinary people who knew nothing about fashion. The character Miranda Priestley, modeled after Anna Wintour, the actual editor-in-chief of Vogue, was the perfect persona symbolizing the arrogance and perfectionism that the fashion world possessed at the time. A perfectly cast reunion after 20 years. This sequel, finally produced after a long span of 20 years, leaves behind that glorious past to depict the bitter reality of characters struggling in a completely transformed digital media environment. The reunion of Meryl Streep, who was already a legendary figure during the first film's release, and Anne Hathaway, who was a rising rookie at the time, stimulates deep nostalgia in itself. Furthermore, Emily Blunt, who left a strong impression as the supporting character Emily, who used to walk on eggshells around Miranda in the first movie, has now grown into a top Hollywood lead actress and rejoined the cast. The perfect casting lineup is completed with the return of Stanley Tucci as Nigel, who warmly and solidly anchored the core of the narrative in the original film, making fans' hearts race once again. Andy Sachs's dismissal and an unexpected return. In the movie, Andy Sachs has grown into an excellent award-winning journalist since leaving Runway, but she is unable to escape the recession of print media and the harsh winds of restructuring, ultimately getting fired from her company. At that very moment of despair, a massive crisis threatening the survival of Runway magazine occurs, and Andy is suddenly scouted for a special task force team to manage the situation. Through this, Andy reunites with the notoriously strict editor-in-chief Miranda and Nigel, who guided her into the world of fashion for the first time in 20 years. Miranda's signature communication style, pretending not to properly remember Andy Sachs and treating her with indifference, evokes deep joy and a strange familiar chuckle rather than actual annoyance, a hilarious reversal of power dynamics. To resolve the fatal financial crisis facing Runway, Andy and Miranda visit a giant luxury advertising company that holds the fate of the magazine in its hands. Shockingly, Emily, who used to be Miranda's first assistant, has left the magazine and established herself as the top executive of this luxury brand. After 20 long years, Emily, who once feared even the sound of Miranda's breathing, is now the client holding the purse strings, directly managing Miranda. The complete reversal of the past and present power dynamics provides the drama with immense tension and comedy simultaneously. On the other hand, Runway magazine, having lost its past glory, is in a desperate situation where it must bend its stubborn insistence on print publications and find a way to survive by placing a much heavier emphasis on online digital platforms, a satirical nod to the tech titans of today. From this point on, the movie realistically portrays the desperate struggles of past characters to save the slowly sinking ship that is Runway magazine. Of course, the film heavily implies a melancholic nuance throughout that the print magazine Runway will not be able to reclaim its past glory and endure for a long time. One of the highly interesting aspects of this sequel is that a character blatantly reminiscent of Jeff Bezos, the symbol of the current global IT industry and capital from Amazon, appears as a major figure in the plot. Furthermore, by meticulously borrowing the detail that this IT titan with immense wealth is divorced, the director's wit shines through, leaving the audience with absolutely no room to doubt which real-world figure is being referenced. The dilemma of modern journalism and survival. The movie even depicts this heavyweight IT entrepreneur as secretly dating Emily, adding a layer that seems to satirize the bizarre collusion between traditional media and emerging digital capital. Meanwhile, Andy Sachs, who wants to write in-depth articles based on authentic journalism, falls into a severe dilemma where she must write provocative and trendy articles that the public will casually consume and click on to save the company. Perhaps this agony of Andy's represents the painful reality faced by all writers and traditional media producing online content in modern society, and the fateful path of compromise they must inevitably take. After many twists and turns, Andy Sachs plays an active role in her own uniquely chaotic way and dramatically prevents the immediate downfall of the magazine company, a triumphant but melancholic conclusion. However, the one person who knows deep in her bones better than anyone else that this tearful success and revival is merely a temporary reprieve, slightly delaying the flow of time, is none other than Editor-in-Chief Miranda. Judged by realistic standards, it is nearly impossible to survive and maintain the editor-in-chief position in a fashion magazine, the absolute front line of rapidly changing trends until reaching Miranda's age. When all the events wrap up and Madonna's iconic song Vogue, which made audiences' hearts beat wildly in the first film, plays majestically, a profound catharsis washes over, along with an overwhelming sense of, yes, this is exactly it. Even though times change and print magazines decline, the passion and fierce attitude toward life shown by these characters will remain forever. It is an excellent sequel that leaves a lingering resonance, making us hope that another sequel reflecting a new era might be released 10 or 20 years from now to show us their twilight years.